Alright, let's talk about Cameylla, the newest resonator added to Wuthering Waves. And in this guide, I'm going to talk about her kit, teams, and rotations so that way you know everything that you need to know before you roll. So let's start with her kit. So Cameylla has 3 forms, her normal, her charge, and her supercharged form, with each form being stronger than the previous. Now to enter her charge form, all you have to do is just simply activate her skill. But to enter her supercharged form, you have to have max Concerto. Once you do, all you have to do is activate her skill once again. Once activated, you're going to lose 70 Concerto. The main way how you build up her Concerto is by performing her basic attack combo, which is easily done by simply holding the attack button down. Due to this mechanic, it makes it easy to dodge if you're in a risky situation because all you need to simply do is just hold the attack button down again to gain the necessary Concerto. So the second part of her kit is the pistol bar, to where she does extra damage as long as there's energy in her bar. The bar will lose energy for every basic attack that she does, and the only way to fill the bars to intro into her are to cast a supercharged skill. So let's discuss her basic rotation. You want to intro in on Cameylla, activate her skill, and then cast her liberation. Then you want to hold the attack button down until she kicks the ground, which should give you enough Concerto to where you can activate her supercharged skill. Then you hold attack again, cast her skill, her echo, allowing you to outro to another teammate. So let's go ahead and talk about her build. So the main things that you're going to be focusing on is crit rate and crit damage, to where generally you want to try to get somewhere between 50 to 70% crit rate, then trying to get as much crit damage as humanly possible. You also want to try to get at least 120% energy recharge, that way you can cast your liberation easier. After that, your next ideal stat is basic attack damage, since her kit mainly revolves around this. Bringing us to our echoes. Now the main set that you want to focus on is a Sun Seeking Eclipse set, because it greatly increases the Havoc damage. For your boss echo, you have 2 options. You can go with Dreamless, which is going to do a lot of damage when cast, or Crownless, which can increase your Havoc damage when cast. Now there is a downside to where this has a long skill animation, but this can be cancelled by doing a dodge and you will still get the buff. Another option that you can consider is a Lingering Tune set, which can increase your attack damage. On top of that, the boss echo has a quick skill animation and it also increases your attack as well. This is a good alternative if you don't have a good Sun Seeking Eclipse set. But when it comes to the main set, you're generally going to want to go with crit damage. This is due to the fact that most people are generally going to have the standard 5-star weapon. But again, this depends on your overall stats, to where if you have a good crit rate piece, you could consider using that. For your 3-cost echoes, you're going to want to go with Havoc damage. You also could use attack, especially if you have her signature weapon. And for your 1-cost echoes, you're going to want to go with attack. So now let's go ahead and take a look at her ideal weapons. Of course, her signature weapon is going to be her strongest weapon, mainly due to the fact that it greatly increases her basic attack damage, to where the only downside is that it's specifically designed for her and not many other characters can take advantage of its full effects. Coming in second is Blazing Brilliance, to where it is pretty much just a stat stick, but it does increase her attack as well. In third place would be the standard 5-star weapon, to where it's just slightly weaker than Blazing Brilliance. This is due to the fact that it gives the same amount of crit rate and it can reach the same amount of attack once it has max stacks. On top of that, it does provide energy recharge, which could help you cast your liberation much easier. For 4 stars, her number 1 choice would be Looming Gloss, the battle pass weapon, due to the fact that it greatly increases her basic attack damage when she casts her skill. And if you're able to get higher refinements, this gets even stronger. Next will be the new event weapon that is coming in patch 1.4, to where we should be able to max refine it after the event is over. And lastly would be Endless Collapse, but this would be weaker than the event weapon, especially if you don't have max ranks. Which brings us to her skills. Now you want to prioritize her skill as well as her forte, because these are the skills that give her the most damage. After that, you want to go ahead and try to max her liberation. Then you can start working on her intro, which is not a big source of damage, so I wouldn't recommend trying to max this. And lastly, the normal attack, which just like the intro, you don't need to max. So now let's go ahead and talk about her teams. Her ideal support is Sanwa. This is due to the fact that her outro gives to the next resonator that she switches into a big basic attack damage buff. On top of that, if she's A6, she increases the whole team's attack. You also could consider Donjin as your support as well. This is due to the fact that her outro greatly increases the incoming resonator's Havoc damage. And just like Sanwa, her A6 increases the team's attack as well. And for your ideal Echo set, you're going to want to go with the Moonlit set. That way you can just further increase Cameylla's attack once you switch into her, with the boss Echo being the Heron, so that way you can also increase her damage as well. And when it comes to your third teammate, you're going to want a healer, and your best healer is Shorekeeper. This is due to the fact that she increases the crit of the entire team, and she also gives them a damage buff. Your second choice would be Verena, to where she doesn't increase the crit like Shorekeeper, but she does increase the entire team's attack, as well as gives the same damage boost like Shorekeeper. And lastly, we have Baizi, to where she has a conditional way to where she can increase the resonator's attack by them picking up a feather, making her weaker than Verena and Shorekeeper, but she can still increase the entire team's damage just like Verena and Shorekeeper. And for their ideal Echo set, they want the Rejuvenating Glow set, due to the fact that it's going to increase the attack of the entire party. And for the boss Echo, they're going to want Fallacy of No Return, because it's going to also increase the attack of the entire party as well. Which brings us to her sequences, to where all of them are a nice boost in damage, with a few standouts. S2 is one of her strongest sequences, and S5 is one of her weakest sequences, and S6 being her strongest sequence due to the fact that she's able to enter her strongest form an additional time. Lastly, let's showcase how she's going to look in a team, using Sanwa and Shorekeeper as teammates. So you want to start out on Shorekeeper and do 3 basic attacks into a hold attack, and then you want to cast her skill, and then you want to do another 3 basic attacks into a hold attack, and then you want to cast her Echo, and then activate her Liberation, and then you want to intro into Sanwa. Then you want to activate her skill, and then you want to activate her Liberation, and then you want to hold attack until her cursor is in her blue forte bar, to where you finally cast her Echo and you intro into Cameylla, to where you're going to cast her skill, then her Liberation, and then you're going to hold attack until you kick the ground, allowing you to activate her supercharged skill, hold attacking until you kick the ground again, activating your skill to your Echo, and then outroing to Shorekeeper. But with that, that should be everything that you need to know before you roll. So let me know down in the comments, are you rolling for Cameylla? Are you waiting for those future characters? But other than that, I'll talk with you guys later.